First of all, congratulations, Juliana, on becoming bantamweight champion for the second time in your career. Number 3 women's bantamweight, Kayla Harrison, won what seemed like a number 1 contenders fight for your belt. And the UFC clearly wants that fight, as they showed a split screen of you and her during your post-fight interview. So how do you feel about that potential matchup? Well, Kayla's definitely on the radar. There's no denying that. But that being said, I haven't heard what Amanda said. I guarantee she was watching that. Dude, I made the press conference massive, okay? I made that show huge. And Amanda, I saw her tweet something, so I guarantee she'll respond in some way. I definitely think that the Amanda fight's still a possibility. Amanda posted a tweet right after Harrison's win earlier tonight of herself winking and hasn't posted anything yet since. Are you still sure a trilogy fight between you and her is possible? That's right! We haven't heard what Amanda said yet. She winked, but she didn't say anything. We don't know what that means. Our trilogy's gonna happen. It's just gotta! Where are you, coward? Show yourself! Anyway, our new bantamweight champion, guys. Isn't she just a handful? Hello, troopers and grinders, and welcome to the Skate Tank MMA podcast with me, Hank the Tank, and the Idaho Skatesman. New bantamweight champion, women's champion, most prestigious champion in UFC history, Juliana Pena, 2 times. Can you believe it? What a freaking legend in the making.
Yeah. Wow.
She's so sure of herself and confident and caring about little girls growing up to do big things and not jealous at all or petty.
Kind of like you.
Exactly. Yeah. And in that way, me and Juliana Pena are a lot alike, and that we both want to destroy ourselves internally.
100%. Well,
for sure.
It's definitely been an interesting weekend in combat sports and for this channel in general. But first of all, let me say hi to some people in the chat. We got the Leprechaun. He's first. CST is watching.
Yeah.
We got Andrew B, the chattest man on the planet. And we got WMC, Western Mass. What's up, boys?
Yes, sir. Good to have you all.
Yeah, we're gonna talk briefly about one championship, briefly about K-1. I stayed up from 11 p.m. to 5 in the morning covering K-1 with a terrible audio, and that's why I bought this mic here. So hopefully I sound better. I swear if I don't, I'm gonna just throw this thing into the trash. But hopefully I sound better. And then obviously we'll get into the night that was UFC 307. Before we get started, any thoughts on the world of combat sports?
Well, I was angry that Pena won. Honestly, I was more angry with what followed than the actual fight itself.
It almost destroyed the whole channel.
Yes, exactly. Self-destruct. It's like that one movie, that really horrible movie, like Jupiter's Rising, I think. It's like, I must create life, and I must destroy it. One of the worst readings of a line in the history of film. But yeah, even though Pena won, and that's not great for me mentally, in terms of for the business and for the future fight with Harrison or Nunes or the trilogy fight, it is a good thing for the UFC's pocketbook. So we want the UFC to continue to be a big business for our sakes, So it was good that Pena won long term, but in terms of like an actual champion representing the sport, fuck her. And fuck Pennington too. They're both bad.
I'll just say this weekend was fantastic for kickboxing. I'm going to start watching a lot more kickboxing and hopefully covering a lot more kickboxing right here on this channel with some live streams. So I'm really hyped on kickboxing, and I think
cool that we found some kickboxing links during that time as well.
Yeah, for sure. And also, people said that the main event of 307 was one of the best fights they've seen. I know you and I don't second that, but it's like, hey guys, there's this whole other combat sport where it's just that, it's just kickboxing. So if you guys like that, have you heard of kickboxing? Anyway,
I will say that I think it was sort of a spectacle due to, I think, the height difference between the two of them, and that Khalil at one point was just hitting Alex with shots you never thought he'd be able to. Like, he turned a head kick into like a looping right.
And we'll get more into that later on in the show. We'll talk about Khalil Rountree's performance. But first off, Hank the Tank has some locks that he'd like to discuss that he made on the preview show. So we'll get right into that.
Here we are. And first one was Mehdi Baydalov against Magomed Bibulatov. Bibulatov Badalev was an underdog going into this one. It was very like even fight in the odds. Like he was +1 something, and then Bibulatov was -1. But I noticed that a lot of people were fading Bibulatov just because he had been taken down previously and actually tapped during a fight to like a submission expert, but the referee just didn't notice or refused to notice it. So that was super weird, like, Russian corruption. And so people were saying, dude, this guy is a fraud check waiting to happen. As soon as he deals with a grappler that's even better than that guy, he's toast. And what do you know? Badalev submits Bibulatov in round 1. Only took him 3 minutes. So there you go. That turned out to be correct. It was even earlier than I hoped. So always do round 1 when it comes to Hank's picks. And then my lock hit as well, with the Russian taking on the Brazilian, as is standard for the ACA cards, the tradition. And he knocked him out in round 2, a knockout in an ACA card. She goes to show that it was one of those ACA cards that delivered in terms of the violence. It's either all action or no action at all. And we're lucky that we got all action this time around. So that was fun. Yeah, ACA is fun to watch at times. You might as well flip a coin, honestly, to choose whether or not you should.
Yeah, I just don't want to support anything that has to do with Ramzan Kadyrov. I mean, it's literally called Akhmat, like fight or whatever. The name is Akhmat, and Akhmat was Ramzan Kadyrov's dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't support anything Ramzan Kadyrov related. Me personally, definitely. But I will agree that there's some good fighters that come out of that league.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Technically I had other locks and underdogs, but I also picked like all the MMA fights for one fight night. It was sort of a dry period in terms
what's funny that you picked the whole card, because you famously shat all over the card and said you weren't even going to watch it.
That is true, but it was only 4 fights, so I was like, what the hell? Why not?
Oh, 4 MMA fights. Got it. Yeah. If you could pull up that entire card, and we'll kind of just go over some highlights of it, because it actually wasn't a bad card.
No, it wasn't. I think I was just maybe me projecting about the weigh-ins bullshit that always happens with
lots of projecting going on.
Yes.
Leprechaun says McGee was the biggest winner of 307. No. Kobe Wiggle, what's up? He says he still feels bad for Jose Aldo.
Yeah, that one's going to sting for a while. Just like Morale.
Yeah, Sean also says that Beterbiev is going to destroy Bivol on Saturday. I sure hope so. So we got one fight night pulled up here. Go ahead and tell us about like your locks, and then we'll get into something that I want to talk about. I want to talk about John Lineker, and I want to talk about the main event.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to have my underdog on this card. There used to be 4 MMA fights on this one. That was cut in half to 2 because of all the weigh-ins bullshit. So the MMA fights got cut. There were 2 left, though. The first one was Daniel Williams against Banma Duoji. I did not do a good job with this one because Duoji was apparently some guy who was putting fools out, huge power in his fists. And meanwhile, Daniel Williams, he's a 6-3 record, only 2/3 wins. And he really hasn't shown much in terms of finishing ability. Duoji is like, an underground KO artist. So everyone's like, ooh, be afraid of this guy. He's transitioning from kickboxing, Muay Thai to MMA. But you know what happens when, the striker transitions to MMA sometimes. They get taken down, beaten up. They don't have a lot of experience mixing the martial arts. And that's exactly what happened. It was rough.
Yeah, Daniel Williams has actually had some kickboxing matches himself, too. Yeah. So he's a pretty good fighter.
Nice. Well, that definitely translated. And then
I want to talk about Estupiñán. Really quick.
But this is the one other pick that I was able to make. So Mansour Malashiev, he was my lock in both cases, and he got the job done against Bokang.
Did you watch that fight?
No, I did not.
Dude, Bokang is tiny. I think he's like 5'1". It was really strange to watch because he has like a normal sized torso and normal sized arms, but he has really tiny legs and like really tiny head. It was a really strange fight to watch, but I thought that he'd actually may have even won the fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
But, he was the Russian favorite, heavy favorite. So maybe the judges felt a little biased towards the favorite.
But the fight just below that was Johan Estupiñán.
Mm-hmm.
This was a fucking banger of a fight, dude. Estupiñán fought in the Denver card, this one right here, with Superlek and Haggerty. I was there live. He was like one of the first fights in the card, and he got a knockout there. I was actually surprised that he came back so quick. And I was a little worried for him too. But Dude, he got hurt a bunch of times in the first round. I mean, this was a firefight. If you guys get a chance, go back and watch this because holy shit, this is one of the best fights of the weekend. Estupiñán ends up finally just pulling through and getting the knockout. But he fought extremely reckless in this fight and got dropped a few times, but this was a straight up war, and I fucking loved every second of it. Yes. I love Muay Thai.
Estupiñán's a freaking warrior, dude. And I'm glad that he's found success in all these big shows. So
yeah,
continues to get booked in.
Guy's a star in the making.
Roles. Absolutely.
So the next fight I wanted to talk about was John Lineker versus what is his name? Alexei Balico. Oh my god! I guess John Lineker is a fucking Muay Thai fighter now. Yeah, it's hilarious because he doesn't throw any kicks. He literally just goes in there and throws hands, and he knocks out Balico in round 1, 2 minutes in. Fucking fantastic shit. And now we're talking about and maybe not one championship, but I'm like, dude, throw him in there with Rodtang. Fuck it. Let's just go right for it. Let's get him with Rodtang or another Thai legend. He actually even called out Rodtang after this fight. And I'm just hyped, dude. I'm hyped. Lineker is now a Muay Thai fighter. Let's go.
So, but that would that be a fight in between him and Takeru, or would that be afterwards?
I have no idea. I don't care.
Yeah, put it together anyway. He's a big star.
Yeah, whatever.
Star. Why not? Super fights. Chatri doesn't care about any rankings logic at all. So just do it.
Yes, I agree.
And then we got these last two fights. Can you tell me something about both, or just the main event?
Just the main event was interesting to me. Reggie and Uracel, his only loss in one was to Nicholas, their last fight for the kickboxing championship. And Nicholas just out-technicaled him, stayed away, just was really clean and perfect the whole time, and that's how he got the belt. Reggie and Uracel was looking to get his belt back here, and he did because he drew Nicholas into a dogfight, and he had a reckless fight with him, and it wasn't pretty at all. Yeah. And that's the fight that he needed, and it was pretty clear from the first round onto the second that Nicholas needed to change the game plan up and have a technical fight like he did last time to win. But I'm actually really glad that Uracel got his belt back because he's just the more exciting of the two fighters. Sure. And he made it a lot more scrappy this time around and got the win. So super, super sick to see Uracel get his belt back.
Do you think he fought smarter, or did he just get lucky that Nicholas sort of lost the technique that won him the first fight?
No. He definitely fought smarter, as in I'm trying to think of an MMA fight that would relate.
Pena and Nunes?
No. It's just that sometimes if you have a slower match with somebody, their technique is better and they're cleaner, And so instead of having a slower match, he picked up the pace and he really came at Nicholas and crowded him more and just fought a much better game plan this time around. Even if it was a little more reckless, I think he just knew that Nicholas wasn't going to knock him out. So that's what he did exactly what he needed to do. And it was sick to see him just win the rematch,
Yeah. I remember I was in the City Life Project chat when this happened. And I asked Isha, okay, what do you think is next for Reggie Uracel? And Isha tried, for the life of him, he tried to find an opponent for him after this. He could not find the welterweight Muay Thai rankings.
Well, that's the thing, is that he has already beaten pretty much everybody of note inside of that division. I think he was,
at this point.
Well, he was on a 10-fight win streak in the promotion before this.
Right.
So, yeah. And honestly, Nicholas was he had one fight in the promotion, then they gave him a title shot. That shows you how thin the division is.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but hopefully they can put all the emphasis on the Muay Thai and kickboxing, like you and Rush Hour J have been screaming to the world, and put more investment in that because it's.
I mean, they are. Then they kind of have to, right?
For their own survival.
Well, the Thai government gives them money to stage those shows at a Lumpini Boxing Stadium. Hence why they canceled the Atlanta show and moved it to Lumpini. So yeah, and then you can see that John Lineker is now doing Muay Thai fights. So I think that is the direction they'll go in, and I'm hyped to see it. I'd rather them just do that because MMA sucks.
I think a lot of these MMA guys could transition well to Muay Thai if they keep their stand-up really clean, because a lot of these guys who are big knockout artists in MMA, I think they could flourish at Muay Thai. Or
except for Gary Tonin or Mikey Musumeci.
specifically those guys.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey could scream in his opponent's face and then he'd cower a little bit and get into the corner. But anyway, that was one fight night. I guess it delivered more than I thought it would. But there were so many, Chaudhry shenanigans before that, and weight cuts and hydration tests, and put a bad taste in my mouth. Let's just say that.
So
anything else
I want to talk about K-1. Let me try to find the card. Give me 1 second. Just stall for a second.
All right.
Apparently, K-1 is a gay club in Osaka. So
McGee hasn't subbed anyone in 14 years. Is he talking about Marcus?
No, he's talking about Court McGee. He's spelling his name.
Oh,
wrong.
yeah. That is crazy. That was a wild start to the card. I never thought I would see that result in a million years.
Yeah, but he's trying to argue that he was the biggest winner. It's like, dude, he definitely wasn't the biggest winner of the night.
I think people literally forgot about that win as soon as it ended.
Exactly. No, and I'm not saying it wasn't like exciting or
I mean, it was impressive. Yeah, and sad. Right. It means it shows just how fucking washed he is.
Pretty washed. All right, so let me pull this up. So this is the K-1 Osaka. So this time it was on Gaora Sports, just a fucking random TV channel in Japan. And I'm so glad that it was. That means we were able to watch it, because trying to find a bootleg Abima pay-per-view stream was definitely unsuccessful, as they've been geo-blocking. One thing that really upsets me, though, is that they were able to show the prelims on YouTube, and then they switched to Gaora Sports. So it's like, how do you not have broadcasting rights, but you're able to air some of your card on YouTube? It just make sense.
Suspect. Yeah.
No, it doesn't make any sense, dude. And it pisses me off. But again, I was glad this was on Japanese TV for free. But
have they done something like this before? Where they say
that?
Have they pulled something like this before, where they say, "Oh, it hasn't been broadcasted," and then they broadcast it somewhere else, or like they don't do what they say, or they do something random that's like just not.
No. I mean that's the problem. Is like just in the K-1 Brazil card. They claimed that there wouldn't be any broadcast, and somebody streamed it off of Instagram. So that's when we were all like, oh shit, K-1's dying again, because this is supposed to be their reboot, especially within the last year, bringing back the WGP. So like the last card was a pay-per-view on Abima, and it wasn't able to be shown at all anywhere. So this one, that now they have a deal with Gaora Sports, which is just a sports channel in Japan. And I'm guessing that's why they showed it on YouTube, but still, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just sounds stupid as hell. But yeah, our first fight ended in knockout. We had a decision. Look at this: knockout, split, knockout, decision. Oh. So this was a good fight. Was this Daryl Verdog?
I remember watching this.
And Zora. Zora he's a training partner of Chingy Zalazov, and just before this fight, they announced that Chingy Zalazov was coming to to K-1. But yeah, Daryl fought like crazy. He's definitely sloppy, 28-year-old, but definitely very exciting.
And he's got a number 1 fan in City from
yes.
So he's got her in the corner.
Stoyan Koprolevsky got a win over Jinku, former like deep kick, or was it a crush champion? This fight was terrible. It was 2 fat people.
Yikes.
Then we had Errol Zimmerman, the legend, getting a right hook knockout in the 3rd round. That was super fun to see. The Bone Crusher at 38 years old, still competing in K-1 level. But this was the thing I really wanted to talk about, was this man KG just sleeping Jerome LeBanner so bad. Jerome LeBanner is 51.
Oh,
and
my! I was gonna say he looks like a fighter from like the 1990s or the 2000s with that.
Yeah, that's when he was in his prime, and it was just sad to see them roll out the corpse of Jerome LeBanner, and you can see in the thumbnail that he just got absolutely fucking mauled and destroyed. Yeah. He was so slow, and KG had thrown a flurry that backed him into the corner and dropped his hands just barely, and that head kick just slept him. Yikes. It was so vicious and sad to watch. Nobody was happy.
Is this one of those moments where it's like, oh, Fedor's back at Bellator to face Ryan Bader for the heavyweight championship because he has name value, so we can make a pretty penny off of him being in the main event.
Well, and I think I think that it shows you the state of K-1 at this point, that they're just rolling out these old legends to get knocked out viciously.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Oof. Is that an oxygen mask?
Yeah, dude, that was the knockout. Oh my gosh. Just let me tell you about hard times when you get interviewed by Joe Rogan and the whole world sees your bloody snot rocket drip on your lip. That's hard times. That's hard times.
That's hard times, baby.
But yeah, look at this poor old man just getting viciously knocked out, having to get an oxygen mask put on him. Sad.
That's cruel and unusual punishment right there.
I agree. But yeah, so
paycheck though.
That was kind of the things that happened outside of the UFC this weekend. Was a good weekend for combat sports as a whole. There was a boxing event headlined by Nick Ball. That was a pretty good club level boxing show.
Had a lot of knockouts, I remember.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes of the weekend was the UFC card. So we're just going to quickly talk about how we placed this weekend. I need to actually mark this down because I do keep track of this this league. I have all the winners marked. So I need to put Sparks. So actually Sparks has 3 wins now for the year, which is good shit for him. Good homie of mine, Steve Sparks. He reminds me of Encino, man. So yeah, only Hasmula and Robo have 4 wins, so he's at 3 now. But anyway,
wow.
Weedy Gonzalez getting 2.
Let's go fuck the Weedy, dude.
3rd, Campbell Booth. We got Roberto getting 8. I was over here at 10.
Top
picked
10.
8 out of 12 correct.
He's right under you, dude.
Yeah, Sean Moody, man, he killed it this weekend. Good for him. And then 13th was Mr. Hank. Denial at 16. Dane 20. You know, he lost some money. Ganscow 24.
It's impressive that Denial got that many points, given he only picks with.
And Paulman was last.
All the way down there.
Who?
Dana White pay-per-view. He's usually like number 1, number 2. He's down at 33.
Well, I think a lot of people pick underdogs, and they kind of screw themselves over a little bit.
Yeah. That's why I'll always beat.
But yeah,
there's too many underdogs every card.
Right. So, and sometimes it works.
You got it again.
So I think that brings us to like 9 and 7 or 9 and 6.
Wow, incredible
on the year
from Just Deadpool. You're all gay, police forever, and he's gone. Very memorable entrance and exit. I wonder if he rehearsed that before he came on.
What do you say here? Let me see. You're all gay. Peace. Well, thank you. We're all happy over here.
Yeah, very happy. We're using the old 40s and 50s definition when you go to the park and it would be a gay old time.
So let me get my picks up. Did you watch the entire card? I definitely had tuned out a little bit. This card was dog shit.
Yeah, I unfortunately had to watch the whole thing as part of my fight companion.
Sure. Okay, so first fight was Court McGee versus Tim Means. Like I said, didn't watch it. Just know I watched like the very end of it, and just know that Tim Means got subbed. Actually, I didn't even watch it. I just heard in a fight companion that he had gotten subbed. So definitely, there's my first pick wrong.
There wasn't even really like a beginning to it. Like neither men were throwing big shots at all. Tim Means was super sloppy with his striking. I didn't see one punch from him that landed clean. It was mostly he did like this where he's like like he's like throwing his fists around. He's not doing any straight shots. That just tells you that he's washed when his technique is just like gone out the window. And Court McGee didn't really throw anything all that particularly impactful either. But then he just got Tim Means down to the ground. Wasn't even an impressive takedown. It was mostly just, I push you down. And then Means was trying to get up, and then he just kept him down. And there was the rear naked choke. So there you have it. Not much to say. Both these guys shouldn't be in the UFC. And that's just.
Are you going to pull up your pick, or we just move to the next one?
Well, we both had very
similar picks. Yeah. So the next fight was Tisha Pennington defeating Carla Esparza. I thought that I was really happy to see Carla Esparza in her last fight actually like come in with some aggression. And I thought she fought fantastic. Honestly, I thought this was probably the best Carla Esparza we'd ever seen. As far as just excitement level, right? I thought she beat Tisha Pennington on the feet and definitely beat her in the grappling. when it was all said and done, they had awarded Tisha Pennington the split decision victory. I thought that was pretty egregious and a bad. Like I thought it was low key a robbery. Some other people were saying it wasn't really as one sided as I initially had thought. But either way, I'm glad to see Carla Esparza lose and drop the gloves. I think it was a setup by the UFC. They really didn't want her to continue fighting. They didn't want her to continue fighting, and they had the retirement package already ready for her. Yeah. So, yes, thank God Carla Esparza is out of our lives for good.
Carla Esparza also said that was going to be her last fight, regardless if she won or lost. So I think the UFC knew that and set up the package once they got the okay from her that, oh, yeah, this is my retirement fight. So,
well, I'm just saying, as far as the judging goes, I think that they made sure she lost personally.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like
tell me about the fight.
I think Pennington won that first round on damage. I think she had slicker combinations. She kept herself on the feet, but unfortunately, I think it is a trend that when you see like one of the opponent women's fighters get the other down, like in the last minute of the fight, that's what like lasts in people's memory.
I mean, she had her in a crucifix at one point and was landing shots. Like, I don't know, it just seemed like utter domination to me.
I thought her defense was better. But again, it was more towards the end. So I feel like most of it was on the feet, and it was Pennington just not even outclassing her, but just like having slicker combination. Again, this is the case with Pennington in almost every one of her fights. She's dealing with the wrestler. Hey, she stuffed the takedowns. She was able to keep it on the feet and then did better towards the end. And they got the takedown. So therefore, that matters more because control to fight and went in time in a women's fight. And I feel like that was the same for round 3. Like I was almost all Pennington in that third round, and then Carla Esparza got the takedown at the end and controlled her. And honestly, I just felt like Esparza wasn't that quick on the ground. She wasn't like beating the absolute hell out of her on the ground. It was enough that you could award Pennington more points on damage. But that's just my opinion. I think it was a close fight enough that you can't call it a robbery like the Idaho Statesman way. And at the time live, I thought that she won. So
okay, cool. Well, at least because I was definitely like, what the fuck? I think they just screwed Carla Esparza because she was out on the way out. But I don't care either way. I'm happy to see
a lot of narratives going into it.
The next fight was Ryan Spann versus Ovin St. Preux. Again, not a lot to talk about. Ryan Spann hurts Ovin, takes him down, tries one sub, doesn't get it, gets his back, and just that's a wrap. Ryan Spann gets it done. I picked him to get a knockout in round 2. I did say there was a case for a round 1 finish. I did not think that he would sub him. But overall, man, good performance from Ryan Spann. And is another thing, a lot of these fighters on this card are you never know which version of them is going to show up.
Exactly. That's why I pick them sometimes.
And the version of Ryan Spann that showed up just was the one that gets a quick finish over the washed fucking old Ovin St. Preux. I don't know why he's still even in the UFC at this point. But yeah, tell me, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, the Ovin St. Preux I saw against Kennedy Nzechukwu did not show up here against Ryan Spann. And also, I think Ryan Spann was actually in a killer instinct this time around. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. Like in that fight with Anthony Smith, how does he not knock out Anthony Smith? How does Vitor Petrino knock down Anthony Smith and Ryan Spann isn't able to do it once? How does Ryan Spann not hit any leg kicks on Anthony Smith?
I don't think Vitor Petrino knocked Anthony Smith down. He got finished in like 30, 40 seconds.
Well, yes, but there was like a moment, like an exchange where Petrino's like, oh, he buckled him with an overhand. Oh, he hit him with an overhand. Oh, my God, he's wobbled. He's all over the place. And that never happened with Spann against Anthony Smith.
For somebody who hates Anthony Smith, you sure know a lot about his fights and watch him in great detail.
Well, you have to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, Idaho Skates.
Got it.
That's how you work in the mafia. But yeah, Ryan Spann, he looked like the Ryan Spann against Nikita Krylov, where it's like, oh, I'm going to go really quick at you. I'm going to get you down. I'm going to get you in a submission hold. Like, finally, that Ryan Spann is back, and he should have been, because Ovin St. Preux is fucking washed. So all you have to do is hit him with something big and then submit him, because your guillotine's great, and you put guys in really horrible positions on the ground. And so instead of waiting until the very end of the first round, he did it in 1 minute in the first round. So good for Spann. I'm glad that he's adopted that killer instinct again. But yeah, the Ovin St. Preux I thought would show up and slowly pick the dumb young fighter apart was not there. So, oh well, I took a risk in it and I missed.
Do you think Ovin St. Preux should retire?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no future for him.
Sean says he'll fight him in a retirement fight.
Yeah,
you would get absolutely decimated in the UFC.
Watched.
Matchup for Ryan Spann, or you don't care?
I really don't care. Like, what do you get from a win off of Owen St. Preux, really?
A tough
You just
up
get
and comer.
nothing. Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
So
in the comparison to OSP, yeah.
So he is somehow 15th in Tapology's rankings.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, do we want him to lose or do we want him to win?
I would reward Span for actually doing what he needed to do in this fight, which is get a quick finish and prove why you're actually a contender. So he did what he needed to do. If he won this by decision, I would say, yeah, feed him to the fucking wolves. His talent is completely faded. He's not worth anything. But he showed vintage Superman Span. So I would say, yeah, put him against. I wouldn't put him against a ranked fighter. I'd put him against someone right outside the rankings, just to prove once and for all that you deserve to be back in the rankings again.
Let's see. Felipe Lins, but he's coming off of a bunch of decisions. They're kind of boring.
That would be such a boring fight too.
Let's see. He's already fought like so many of the division, so many people in the division.
Yeah.
How about Modestus Bukauskas?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right.
See if he's got that power in him again.
That's that matchup. That's the one. Well, he'd go out with a W. Yeah, I agree. All right, so the next fight was a very strange one indeed. It was Cesar Almeida taking on Ihor Potieria. I question why Potieria was even in the UFC. I really don't like this guy.
I don't either.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I just can't stand him at all. But to be fair, he has lost to some tougher guys, I guess. And he's a fun like
underdog to pick.
No, he gets knocked out in a good way.
Oh,
he gets finished in a good way.
He's a good test dummy. He's a good fall guy.
Yeah, he's good for people's highlight reels. So that's what I was hoping Cesar Almeida would do here. But he looked pretty bad against Ihor Potieria of all people. It's interesting that Roman Kopylov had such a hard fight with Cesar Almeida.
Yeah.
And then Ihor Potieria had like a boring fight that wasn't really that bad. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like Ihor Potieria almost looked better in a loss than Roman Kopylov did. Although the Roman Kopylov fight was much more exciting than this one.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was due to Ihor Potieria landing like 4 eye pokes and like 2 low blows. The referee never took a point. The commentary was going insane, and I actually agree with them. Rarely do, but in this instance,
especially with Joe Rogan there,
they were dogging this referee who like broke the clinches immediately. Never took a point. He warned Cesar like a whole bunch of times, but ultimately he does get the decision win. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was very unimpressive, though.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I will give the devil's due with Roman Kopylov. He did hurt his hand in that fight. So if there were moments in round 2 and round 3 where he was looking like sloppy against Ihor Potieria, that might be the reason why and why he became a wrestler. But yeah, Ihor Potieria looked great, like on the feet against Cesar Almeida. And
so
if Almeida hadn't have gotten that takedown in round 2, he probably would have lost this fight. But instead, he was able to get him down and hit the ground and pound, and that won him the round back. But most of that round was Ihor Potieria pressuring him up against the cage and throwing solid enough combinations that, you know, he just threw his game. I don't even know what Almeida's game plan here was. Like, wasn't even like throwing big power shots. He was just missing with a bunch of power shots, and like technique was fully off. His timing was garbage. And yeah, the
fight was garbage.
The whole fight was garbage. But at least Ihor Potieria lost because we both fucking hate Ihor Potieria. But
yeah, not a fan.
Hating Cesar Almeida in the future as well. Never trust the Almeida family to ever deliver.
So you have a matchup in mind for him next?
I don't.
I'm trying to go through some of the. They don't even have him in the top 50 on Tapology, which is kind of strange.
I mean, who has he really beaten? He beat Dylan Budka.
Kopylov.
Yeah, but then Kopylov beat him. So
that's right. He did beat him.
He's in the same spot that Dylan Budka is right now.
Yeah, they have him outside the top 50. Let me see. Oh gosh. Jacob Malkoun?
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's battle of the strikers. See you outclass.
Well, Jacob Malkoun's a wrestler.
Oh, he's a wrestler now. No, well, then that would be a good challenge for Cesar Almeida.
Maybe Petrosky.
Wait, hold on. Andre Petrosky?
Yeah, who just beat Dylan Budka.
Yeah. I mean, both guys beat Dylan Budka, so they're around the same spot.
I think that's probably the matchup to make next.
Yeah. Why not?
So we move on to the next fight here. It was Alexander Hernandez versus Austin Hubbard. I thought this was a great fight.
That was a good fight.
Definitely was a tough fight for both men. Some people thought that Austin Hubbard deserved the win. I don't think so. I think that he definitely had his moments and he made it a tough fight. But ultimately, Alexander Hernandez gets another win at lightweight. But seriously, I mean, this guy just struggles really bad. He's just too reckless in there, man, and he gets hurt, and that's the only way he can really land strikes. I don't really know where you go with this guy. The fight was exciting. I think he won most of the rounds pretty handily, but I don't know, man. He's going to have a lot of tough fights. If Austin Hubbard fight was this hard for him, and I certainly was debating back and forth on whether or not to pick Austin Hubbard, but still, like I don't know, man. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, he's looking pretty washed already. He doesn't seem like someone who is going to put out his future opponents. Even if he has power, like he just can't execute well enough that he can really catch his opponents off guard. He's just standing and trading, basically, for the most part. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. There were so many points where Austin Hubbard like threw up a knee when Alexander Hernandez was like ducking in. If any of those had landed like completely flush, Hernandez would have been out. And so I feel like there are lightweight fighters that are way more polished in the striking than fucking wrestler Austin Hubbard. And they're going to be able to catch him with those big knees and those big uppercuts or hooks around the guard when Hernandez isn't expecting it. I think there are a lot of shots that Hubbard threw that could have potentially put Hernandez out, and he got very lucky that those shots didn't land to like their greatest extent. But Hernandez had a sloppy back and forth war. I will say his jab was better. I think his 1-2s were better, and he was good on the back foot at making sure to keep out of danger. Although there were times that even he couldn't like escape some of the stuff that Hubbard was throwing. I was surprised that there was very little done to try to get Hernandez down by Hubbard, given that Jackson was able to beat Hernandez through sort of getting him down and integrating the wrestling. Hubbard did practically none of it. I think there was like one moment where he tried to get Hernandez down, but this was like a stand-up war for the most part. And I was sort of shocked because Hubbard always does bad when it's stand-up wars, or he's never really great. So I don't know what his game plan was for this. Obviously, the knee was part of it, but didn't help him. Alexander Hernandez is just more powerful. He's more polished. He's more experienced. But if Hernandez takes on another lightweight who's more experienced than him or at the same level, like he's going to get put away. That's my prediction.
What do you want to see for him next?
Alexander Hernandez. So he is currently ranked, I believe it was number 65 in the world.
Yeah, yep, 65. They have him on Tapology. It's ridiculous. Which I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but it's just like that just shows you how deep lightweight is, in my opinion. Honestly, got a couple. Go ahead.
I think maybe a fight between him and Trey Ogden.
So Trey Ogden, I just looked. He's booked against Thiago Moises, so that's out. You got
play the Carpenter Guida. He'll take any fight.
He's booked as well against Chase Hooper. It says it right there on Tapology. I think Vyacheslav Borshev is the fight I want to see.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or maybe Michael Johnson as well.
I think they've already fought.
Have they? Okay.
I would be shocked if they didn't. No, I don't think they have. Let's go. Michael Johnson.
Yeah, let's do that. Battle of the Vets.
I like that.
That's fun.
All right, so the next fight, another fight. I watched the first round. Looked like Marina Rodriguez won the first round, hurt Lucindo, but Lucindo kind of fought back good. She did a lot better on the feet than I was expecting. Yeah. But I think that the wrestling and mixed in with her work on the feet is really won her the fight. Like I said, I barely watched this fight. What are your thoughts on this fight?
I thought Marina Rodriguez clearly won rounds 2 and 3 because she kept it on the feet for the most part, was good with the takedown defense, even when Lucindo got on top of her. And this, I just think the judges for tonight were fucking rotten for the most part because they could not tell like what effective control time was. Like all these opponents were like laying on top of their opponents, like and trying to press them down, trying to really get into opportune positions, but they never like did anything with it or tried to put in a submission or tried to really land some good shots. I didn't really see Lucinda. Oh man, she hit her with a good elbow or a punch there. It never happened. If anything, it was Rodriguez hitting her with elbows on bottom or doing punches that won her the round, in my opinion, because she was doing great on the feet before she got taken down. And then when Lucindo got her down, she didn't try to like equate the amount of damage that was done to her on the feet. And so I felt like, and again, it's another case of, oh, I'm getting my ass kicked for the entire round. I'm going to shoot the takedown, then I'm going to get it. And then I'm going to do absolutely fucking nothing to like make up for all that damage I suffered on the feet. And the judges are like, oh, she got her down. Oh, it's her round. So they gave it to Lucindo. Another split decision. So many fucking splitty cities on this card that I think were not fully unfounded. And I thought Marina Rodriguez won the last 2 rounds clearly, in spite of the takedowns and nothing done on top. So
now they have Lucindo at 7th, I believe, in the rankings. And I think the only fight to make is her and Lemos. Even though Lemos is coming off of a loss, I don't think she looked absolutely terrible or got like beat up really bad. So I think that that's the only fight to make, honestly.
Yeah. All right, then make it. Battle 2 Brazilian men. Get it done.
Leprechaun says, if only Hubbard won. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Who cares? He needs to just do more. Another fight I didn't watch, but I watched the knockout. It was pretty vicious. But yeah, talk to me about this fight.
Yeah, this was just sort of tragic for Wonderboy Thompson because he was actually doing a great job with the get-up ability when he was getting taken down. I told everybody right out of the gate that Buckley was going to be smart and he was going to try to wrestle fuck Wonderboy. And that's exactly what he did. First, like minute into the fight, he hoists Wonderboy up and slams him down. But the difference between this and most of Wonderboy's fights is that Wonderboy's like, oh, hold on, I'm going to get against the face. Oh, now I'm on both my feet and I'm up. And he did it like right away. It only took him like 30 seconds. And I was shocked. And then Wonderboy started to do a lot of counter punching. Like, I'm going to wait for him to come in and I'm hit him with a 1-2 while he's in there. I'll try to fucking catch him with something. And he was doing pretty good for the most part. I still think Buckley won the first round, but then Wonderboy had better kicks to the leg and kicks to the head that, sort of stumbled Buckley every once in a while, or put him off balance. And his counter striking was great. I had it 1-1 going into the third round. I thought Wonderboy was winning the third round, actually, as Charlie Sheen would say, winning the third round with his counter ability. But the thing about Wonderboy is he was too heavy on, like, I'm going to catch you on the back foot instead of trying to do anything on the front foot. You cannot allow Buckley to be just wildly swinging at you, especially when you're against the fence.
He's got a lot of power.
Yeah, got too close to the fence trying to catch Buckley with something coming in, and instead Buckley caught him with something coming in with that huge right hand that just fucking instantly put him out. So I feel sad for Wonderboy because he was actually showing one of his better recent fights, and if he'd have avoided that right hand, who knows how that fight would have gone. But Buckley, he chose not to wrestle towards the end and became reliant on his power and his striking. And it was very smart of Buckley because now he has a finish and he actually has a reason for challenging Usman because now he got a knockout in the finish.
And that's who he called out, right?
Exactly, right afterwards. He did not call Usman's mother a hoe, so we can be very thankful for that. But he called Usman a hoe.
So this was at welterweight.
Yes.
Usman has fought at middleweight. I personally, man, I don't think Usman takes that fight.
Yeah. Well, he actually as after Buckley called him out, Usman posted on Twitter a little we'll see kind of like emoji on it. So we'll see if he's interested in that, but I doubt it.
If he can't get that fight, what do you think about him versus an Ian Gary or a Sean Brady?
I think he and Ian Gary would be very interesting because both those guys are strikers who have like started implementing grappling to win their fights as of late. So get rid of one of them. That's my opinion. See if those styles cancel each other out.
Dude, welterweight.
Because here's the thing: when you got like wrestlers who are starting to get better at striking or strikers who are getting better at wrestling, sometimes putting those two together, you never know what the fuck's going to happen. Like, it could be a huge stand-up war or a battle of the grappling. Like,
I don't think that a Buckley fight's going to be boring. And I think that an Ian Gary fight has the potential to be boring. So I think that's a good matchup. But I don't know, man. Do you think the UFC would put Ian Gary in a spot like that?
I don't know. I don't know what they want with Ian Gary right now.
Me neither.
He hasn't really delivered in his last couple of fights at all, and it's clear that the fans don't like him.
Yeah, 3 decisions in a row. And to be fair,
like
against
this guy's a bad guy. It's like this guy fucking sucks and we hate him.
He's 3 decisions in a row against probably his toughest fights, but ultimately, yeah, I think that's going to be a good one. So I'd like to see that fight next.
Personally. Yeah, do that. He hasn't earned top 5 yet.
Yeah. The next fight was Kayla Harrison versus Ketlen Vieira. This fight went exactly how I thought it would. As far as Harrison decision, a lot of people told me that she's going to steamroll Ketlen Vieira, and I was like, dude, Ketlen Vieira. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. Ketlen Vieira is her toughest opponent that she's ever fought outside of Larissa Pacheco, and just a big bantamweight as well. Ketlen Vieira is not very good anywhere, but she's good. She's good everywhere, and that was shown because she split Kayla Harrison open, had a fucking huge hematoma. I thought that Kayla Harrison even broke her nose at one point in the fight. Go ahead.
Apparently, it was the first time that Kayla Harrison has ever bled in a fight. So she got she tried to be Khabib and it didn't work out.
I told you guys that this would be a tough fight for Kayla. Everybody told me, oh, she's just gonna fucking bulldoze over her, and that was the expectation heading in. She was a huge favorite, but if you would have listened to me, man, I told you guys that this would be her toughest fight since Larissa Pacheco, and it turned out to be. Again, I don't think there's a case for Ketlen to win. One judge did have it 29-28 for Kayla, but it was a tough fight, and I don't know, man. I thought this was very interesting because it was going to kind of show us how she would do as a champion. To me personally, though, she's the bigger draw, but I think that the number one contender is definitely Norma Dumont. That's what I want to see next, but I do understand the UFC not making that fight, and I think it's a little unfair to Norma Dumont. I think she's done the best work, knocked off the best contenders in the division, but for some reason they just hate her so much and they won't give her that fight.
She's only beaten number 5. She hasn't beaten 4, 3, 2, 1. So they've done it for others before, and I get it. They've been given treatments once they beat a big fighter before, but I feel like she needs one more, maybe just one more opponent before.
I mean, she hasn't lost a fight since 2022, and that was to Macy Chiasson.
But those weren't exactly spectacular.
No, hold on. Beating Carol Hossa, beating Chelsea Chandler, Jermaine Durandamy, and Irene Aldana. I think that Norma Dumont's done the best work.
Worthy of a title shot.
Yeah, I mean she out kickboxed Jermaine Durandamy, and not only that, bro. Outside of Aline Perez, and now Jacqueline Cavalcante, she's on the longest winning streak against the highest ranked opponents. And I understand they're all by decision, but
and she's got the bunda. She's got the bunda, and that does make.
I think it's ridiculous. I think Norma Dumont should be the number one contender, and Kayla Harrison should fight her. But I totally understand them not booking that fight.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to end up booking Pena versus Harrison just based off that split screen of them out during Pena's post-fight interview alone. I think that's obviously the plan.
Which I second to you that's ridiculous. They should have had her in the cage to face off with Pena.
Yeah, so stupid, dude. And it's not like she was like, oh, she has an ice pack on her head. Oh, her leg's completely messed up. She can't be there. She didn't look like she had a speck on her. She looked fine. And she was energetic and happy and walking around backstage and talking to people. She could clearly be there next to the cage. It makes no fucking sense. They're not old UFC. We know they're not old UFC. But Kayla Harrison, the takedowns won her the fight like we thought they would. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get the finish. She got pretty close to getting mount in round 1, where she was really laying down some big heavy shots, but unfortunately there were 30 seconds left, so it didn't matter as much. There were some moments that I'm sort of worried about where she's in a position to finish, but she doesn't. She didn't find a way to do it. She's on her back. She was on it fully in mount where she could really lay in some damage.
Ketlen Vieira's tough, man.
Yeah, she is tough. She's good at grappling defense, and especially on the feet, she just outworked Harrison, in my opinion. The second round was clearly hers. Harrison's takedown attempts honestly weren't the best at all. She pressured her, tried to grab the shoulder and the hip and push, and her extra weight didn't matter that time. You have to shoot in a good double leg when your opponent's least expecting to get her down. So I hope that Harrison works on her timing for her takedowns in the future, because if he doesn't, I mean, it's Juliana Pena, so come on. Pennington was able to almost win against her. But at the same time, you might encounter some troubles with women's bantamweights who were able to stuff your takedowns. But she got the takedowns in round 1 and round 3 and took full advantage of them and just beat the shit out of Vera on top when she needed to. So that won her the fight. Honestly, it doesn't matter that she didn't get a finish because I think she's going to get the title fight, but could have been way more marketable and way more promoted if she did get a finish, and she wasn't able to. So, oh well, we're still going to get that in the future.
I think it's just a big case of people overrating Kayla and underrating K-1.
Yeah, I was
on it though, like from the jump.
Yeah, you called it this time, so good for you. Also, it's a women's fight, so. I mean, that's sort of the automatic, like, decision. There you go.
No, dude. People told me that Kayla Harrison was going to and even you thought she would. You picked round 1 sub. Like, I tried to tell you guys that if she did do that, I would have been impressed. Right. But I was expecting her to win by decision because Ketlin Vera is tough.
But I was looking at the rankings, and I think maybe Ketlin Vera's next opponent could be either Macy Chasson or Norma Dumont. What do you think of those two?
Dude, no, fuck you. Don't fucking put Norma Dumont against Ketlin Vera. She needs a fucking... Dude, why do you hate Norma Dumont so much?
I'm not hating her. I'm just underrating her because she beat fucking Jermaine Duran to me. How does that warrant a title shot? That's fucking stupid.
Her last win was Irene Aldana.
Yeah, that was all right. That was good.
Her last fight was Irene Aldana coming off that war against Carol Hossa. And before that, Irene Aldana lost a title match to Amanda Nunes.
Irene Aldana barely beat Carol Rosa.
It was an exciting fight.
Yeah, but she barely beat her. Like this.
I'm just sitting here saying, like, why would you put Norma Dumont, in a fight against Ketlin Vera when she's on a 5-fight win streak?
Then what about her versus Chasson then?
She's already beat. Well, actually, that's her only loss. I think that would be okay, but I think she needs she needs Raquel Pennington. Like that's
have her in Pennington
because I'm super high on Norma Dumont. I think she's really fucking fantastic. I think, dude, I don't give a shit that she has a big ass. Like, I mean, seriously, she's on a 5-fight winning streak in the division. She needs a bigger fight, but the UFC hates her, and I understand it's all decision wins. But anyway.
She's got the bunda, man, and she actually good with the bunda. Hey,
what is up, Pulse?
What is up? Good to see you.
So the next fight was Roman Dolidze. Again, another fight where you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know if the finisher Roman Dolidze is going to show up. You don't know if the finisher Kevin Holland's going to show up. You don't know if boring Roman Dolidze is going to show up, and you don't know if underperforming Kevin Holland's going to show up. And in my opinion, it was overperforming Roman Dolidze and underperforming Kevin Holland. I think that the matchup in general,
it's weird. Like that was just a weird round in general. Like what was going on with the scrambles. Like to me, this wasn't a very definitive performance for either of them.
I mean, I thought Roman Dolidze beat him on the feet and beat him in the grappling, and that's all he needed to do. I mean, seriously, like. But again, a lot of people are really, really sour on Kevin Holland and the way it was finished. To me, dude, if your ribs fucked up, you can't fight.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the stoppage. I have no problem with Kevin Holland quitting. A lot of people going, "Hey, man, this guy used to be not a quitter, and now he's a quitter." It's like I don't think he's a quitter. The thing about Kevin Holland is he could lose 10 fights in a row, still be on the main card, and we wouldn't even care. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe not 10, but he's going to get another win. He's going to bounce back, and we're going to go, Kevin Holland's the man again. You know, like he's going to just have this performance where he's going to overperform again. And I thought that Dolidze looked decent, but I do still have questions. Like, I don't think either of these guys will ever be a champ or even really deserve to be like or hang in the top 5 for long. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate this performance from Roman Dolidze. A lot of people did because they picked Kevin Holland, but ultimately he got it done.
Holland should have more discipline and cut down to 170. I believe he could make a title run. If he a full-on title run, I don't know about that, but he could definitely go to like top 10. Maybe.
That's the thing, though, is like 170 is a tougher division, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's where he kind of has
still look pretty good at it, though. Yeah, until Jack Bell and Madalena.
You always see these welterweights move up to middleweight and have better performances.
With Kevin Holland, he's all over the fucking place.
That's what I'm saying.
He's allergic to having a win against someone in a top 10. So it's just not going to happen in either division, in my opinion. And I, even though you went against it, I do agree that Kevin Holland, he makes big excuses for why he loses. Like, oh yeah, I wasn't in the mood for it anyway, or I knew I was going to lose because it was on notice. He's
okay, like you go back to the fight with Wonder Boy, right? Fall like an idiot, got knocked out, TKO'd, broken hand.
Well, he chose not to.
Oh my god, I know. That's why I said he fought like an idiot. TKO lost, or he beats Ponzinibbio by TKO. Then he subs Chiesa, and we're like, what the fuck? Loses the JDM, loses the Michael Page. No shame in that. I knew he was going to lose to Michael Page. Oleksiejczuk, he fucking has an amazing performance against Oleksiejczuk up a weight class.
He got dropped.
Okay, amazing performance, and then the fight was amazing.
It was shocking.
It was fucking sick, and he broke fucking Oleksiejczuk's
He was getting outstruck and then got knocked down.
Oh my god,
dude. An assessment of his quality.
So you don't like to see fighters come back and get an arm break sub? Like, no, I don't understand. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is that
you can't rate him off of that.
I didn't say that I did.
Okay.
I just said that, like, when he moved up a weight class, he's having a better fight, like more exciting fight.
Well, more exciting.
I don't know what is this about? What are you trying to say?
We were trying to talk about whether or not Kevin Holland actually has potential, and he turned it into, he's exciting here and he's exciting there. I don't give a shit if it's exciting. Does he actually have potential or not? He doesn't have potential. He gets gatekept every single opportunity. He's not good.
I never argued that he had potential to be a champ.
Okay, so he doesn't
in either weight class.
There we go.
I'm just trying to tell you that Kevin Holland has this string of like impressive finishes, exciting fights,
right?
And then he'll have a fight where it's just weird and we don't know what to do with him, like we're at now. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not saying he's going to be a contender, a serious contender. He's always a good name, always in a fun fight. I'm just saying that, like, this isn't a crossroads in Kevin Holland's career.
Yeah.
I think that he'll bounce back, whether it be at middleweight or welterweight, and we'll be going, dude, Kevin Holland looks sick. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Against MVP, and then
don't yell at me.
Yeah. Well, you're saying some things that are getting on my nerves. Okay.
Like what? Like
you're trying to defend certain performers and saying that they're better than they are, and that it's driving me crazy.
No.
I don't think they're good.
All I've ever said about Kevin Holland is sometimes he shows up and he looks impressive,
yes.
or he has an exciting fight, and sometimes you're like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I've ever said about him.
Yeah, on and off again. That is Kevin Holland to a T. But I actually rate Holland more for this performance against Dolidze. I saw that Holland was hitting Dolidze with more combinations on the feet and catching him in moments, and then as soon as Dolidze shot for the takedown, he got it. If there's one thing I want to knock Kevin for, it's his inability to stuff takedowns. Sometimes I think that's why a lot of people were fading him against Michael Chiesa. And then when he was on his back, God, he was so stupid. He tried to throw up the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guard to just make sure, he didn't get punished. But at the same time, he kept himself down. He didn't allow himself to get back up. So that was like negative fight IQ from Kevin Holland. Allowed Dolidze to stall out the entire first round. And then in a scramble where Holland's just trying to get out into a more opportune position, he just hurts his rib. Oh, my rib. Woodley style. And they had to stop the fight. And it wasn't Kevin Holland wussing out or he's making an excuse to lose. He just hurt his rib. So they had to stop it. Simple as that. But people have their narrative about Holland, and so therefore they this is premeditated. This is where the fluke comes in, where he can say that, this didn't happen, it's because of this, So I think they were expecting something like this to happen. So therefore it sort of like clouded their judgments a little bit. But for me, it was just a fucking fluke injury, and Holland lost. He did get taken down, so I will merit Dolidze with that.
Dolidze got some good strikes off too on the ground.
Yeah, well, once he was on top, I'm saying in the stand-up, Holland was better.
Pole says he beats Bilal Muhammad straight up right now. Kevin Holland.
He doesn't. If Leon Edwards can't do it, dude, Kevin Holland is going to allow himself to get cracked by Bilal Muhammad or
taken down. There's no way. There's no way Kevin Holland's ever champion.
He'll probably break his rib again.
Would I hate it? No, I would love to see Kevin Holland be champion. I mean, he had those 5 wins in 2020, but he asks, what's the ceiling for Dolidze? And by the way, thank you, Pulse. Excellent questions. What's the ceiling for Dolidze? Who should he fight next? I mean, I think we've already seen his ceiling. Those 2 losses to those high-ranked middleweights. But as far as who he should fight next, so they have him at 15. Again, we're going off Tapology, not the UFC. because
Yeah.
John Jones is still pound for pound number one. But they have a guy. So everybody above him is booked. Then you get into Paulo Costa, who's on 2 losses in a row. I personally like the matchup, but I don't like the fight. I think that Kevin. I think that
For Costa's sake, I'd take that fight.
yes. I don't think that Costa. I like the match with him and Hobocop more.
Yeah,
personally. Hobocop on a 3-fight win streak.
Raul Obama would beat the shit out of Dolidze.
I would love to see that fight. But Paulo Costa is up. So I guess it depends on if you want him to move up or have a fight somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It depends. It's Roman Dolidze. I mean, come on. Like, is this guy a star that we're really concerned about who he's got next? Like, we throw him in against some middleweight. Who cares?
That's why I want to see the Hobocop fight.
Yeah.
Paul says he shared the stream and several Discord servers I'm in. Hopefully people come in. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Before he retires, I want to see Holland versus Adesanya. They're built the same way, and I think it would be a good scrap. I think it'd be a good scrap too. There was a time where he was poised to have that fight. Fighting in 2 divisions when Adesanya was on his run, but he just never got to the next level.
Yeah. And then Adesanya's boob, it grew too big, so he had to be hospitalized before their fight. So that would really put a wrench in the works.
Okay, now we get into some of the controversial moments of the card. Bautista versus Aldo happened. Everyone said, "Oh," and you as well. You were like, "Oh, Mario won because he laid on him, and it was a robbery. Jose Aldo should have won."
I didn't think it was a robbery.
Okay, well, there was a lot of people that did. I thought Mario Bautista held his own in the striking. Did he win the striking? No. I think Aldo certainly had the better moments. There was a time when Bautista had a big cut on under his eye or above his eye. But I thought that he held his own and he looked good on the feet against Aldo, personally.
Solid enough to stay alive in there before he leaned against him against the cage.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a fantastic game plan heading in. He knew that, unlike Jonathan Martinez, he wasn't going to be able to just knock Jose Aldo out, wasn't going to be able to out-leg kick him. I thought that Aldo, and this has been a problem with him since moving down to 135, is the leg kicks just aren't there as much or as prevalent. But nonetheless, I thought that Mario Bautista had a good performance here. Was it very exciting? No. He took a page out of Merab's playbook the last time Jose Aldo fought in Salt Lake City. And he just had the same game plan, but with more striking and better striking. I don't think you could have made a case for Aldo to win, personally. But I thought that Aldo definitely in the second round, that was his round. He started throwing more knees, just doing better work. That was the round that he had cut Bautista. But ultimately, Bautista moves up the rankings. And this is exactly why I didn't want Aldo to fight in Salt Lake City, because they got to stop doing this to him.
Or against number 11 in the world when you beat number 10 after returning after like 2 years.
Dude, you are fired up about this fight. Tell me why.
I'm steamed up because this is a fucking sham fight that should have never been put together in the first place. In Salt Lake City, where Jose Aldo retired before. By the way, he didn't want to retire. He was going to announce his retirement in Brazil in that fight. And then Merab spoiled it after he won. So he forced Aldo into retirement by spoiling his retirement fight in Brazil like a fucking idiot. Fuck you, Merab. But anyway, yeah, they book him against another EPO fucking prospect in Mario Bautista, young up-and-coming wrestler and solid striker, after he already beat Jonathan Martinez. No, we can't give you Cruz. We got to have you fight down because you're a legend. And I know that Skatesman is happy about this because, you don't want Aldo clog up the division. I understand that for sure. But you could have made a better fight for Aldo than fucking number 11 in the world, Mario Bautista. And Bautista, I will give him credit. Like Idaho Skatesman said, he did make it competitive on the feet. Aldo did win in the striking, in my opinion. And he just like Skatesman said, he took the Merab game plan and was able to lean on him, like Bill Withers said, and did a few knees. And what I'm really mad at is that Mike Beltran, the referee, who I had a good time with at LFA, hey, he's a nice guy, but he fucked up this fight. He only separated them once after he leaned against Aldo against the cage. I mean, I'm sure he did a few knees now and again, and every once in a while, a shoulder strike. He got him with that one. Dude, there were so many moments where he could have separated them, and he didn't. and instead they laid on each other for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that first round and third round. Bad officiating, in my opinion. That could have, like, honestly, it could have easily changed the course of the fight if they'd have been separated earlier in some of those. So that's what I'm mad at more than anything else. But I will say that, Batista, you're a fucking coward for wanting to just lean on him with doing absolutely nothing against the cage. You're not exciting, and you should go against someone who is exciting to sleep you, because once again pull the fucking Marab.
Well, it's tough because I mean, and from what I can see on his, without going into his record, he's on a 7-fight win streak. So like, he was the only opponent on a win streak that Aldo hasn't beaten inside of the bantamweight division, top 15 and up, and only one that wasn't booked. So as far as the matchup itself, I don't think that it was bad or odd. I didn't like it particularly, but I'm glad that Bautista won just so we can fucking get somebody moving up, because Aldo's been beating all those fucking prospects.
Yeah.
But as far as, go ahead.
The question is Aldo going to retire after this, or is he still going to be fighting a bantamweight because he never took the gloves off?
I don't really care, right? Like,
yeah,
the
but
only
you have to ask these questions for the fucking future of the sport,
right? But you just cut me off, right?
Yeah.
I don't really care if he retires or he doesn't retire. Anakin MMA makes a good matchup for him. Cejudo, I love that.
That makes sense.
I also think that, why haven't we booked him versus Dominic Cruz yet? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So those are the two fights I want to see him in. But as far as Bautista goes, I know that you hate this guy and you don't want to see him again, ever. you want to see him against a more exciting fighter. And again, the problem is like, he's number 8 now in Tapology. Above him is Song Yadong coming off a loss. Corey Sandhagen coming off a loss. Figueiredo's booked. Peter Yan's booked. Umar Nurmagomedov should be fighting Marab next. Sean O'Malley is up there off a loss. I don't know what the fuck you do with this guy. Below him,
leave him in limbo for a year.
Below him is Cheeto. Aldo now. Font is booked. Kyler's booked. Jonathan Martinez booked. Pedro Munoz booked. The only other fighter below him is fucking Chris Gutierrez, who I saw in Denver, and I called him Gabriel Benitez, coming off that win over Quang Lee. So it's like a guy on a 7-fight win streak in the division. Like, what do you do with him?
Again, leave him around for a year and just wait for one of the other fighters to have their fight, and then put him against.
Yeah, we got to wait for a fight to matriculate.
Yeah.
But Anakin says that Bautista was holding a lot. I don't think Mario will make the top rankings. I mean, he's already number 8 in Tapology.
But I agree with Anakin that I think Aldo beat Jonathan Martinez after 2 years away from mixed martial arts. He went to a split decision with a rising prospect in Mario Batista. I think you should freaking reward for Aldo for even having close fights with these rookies and giving him a jump up the rankings for this. I think it's only fair.
So you think he should jump up the rankings? The problem is, I mean, you could do the Song Yadong fight. Or Corey Sandhagen coming off a loss. I wouldn't hate either of those fights, but really, before he retires, like, I want him versus Cruz or Cejudo. I like those.
Apparently, fights. Like, either Cruz doesn't want it, or the UFC matchmakers are protecting him, or just don't want him to achieve any success. So I don't know what they're doing with the book.
Paul said, "I wish they would institute a rule where in the third round you have to duke it out, no grappling." Yeah, watch kickboxing or Muay Thai.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
So
Aldo versus Cruz, they'll never make it. They'll never make it.
I don't know why.
Fucking idiots, buffoons.
Yeah. So the next fight was Pennington versus Pena. Didn't watch this fight super close. Was a pretty boring fight until Pennington had dropped Pena in the 4th and 5th round. Ultimately, Pena gets the win. I'm happy she did. Again, I didn't watch this fight very closely, but Pena had better grappling. Hank the Tank is now gone, so that's fun. Oh, there he is. What did you think about this fight?
For some people, it was too close to call, or they're not sure who won the fight. But I think my chat tricked me during this moment, because I thought that Pena clearly won round 1, just because she was doing better work on the feet than Pennington, hitting her with more combinations, pressuring forward. I will say that Pena was looking pretty smart on the feet and like cautious, almost tentative. Like, everybody remembers her just bum rushing Amanda Nunes blindly like this. She only showed it once in this fight. Like, and the rest of it was some leg kicks, some jabs, some 1-2 combinations coming in. Like, it was a sort of reborn kind of Pena who wasn't just swinging blindly and looking absolutely stupid on the feet. Like, she was composed and took her time. And I think that's what won her this fight. And she almost like had a Rose Namajunas kind of style of, I do little jabs, little combinations. And then when it's right, I shoot the takedown. And then I make sure that I win the round. And like, she played it smart in the first 3 rounds. Pennington really didn't have anything for her in those first 3 rounds. She was like trying to throw a loop, trying to throw a big strike, and like she was missing like almost
questionable game plan for sure.
Yeah, and just hitting Pena's fists with her face for the most part, first 3 rounds. And I thought that it was Pena 3-0 going into the last 2 rounds. But then some people were convincing me, maybe just, no, it was Bronstetter and Sheehan in the like comments after the first round. It was like unanimously, Pennington got that. She did solid enough work. She countered what Pena was doing. She tried to take her down in moment control time. She got that first round. And like, dude, the fucking people online were coping about Pennington in that first round. It was Pena all day for those first 3 rounds. But then, of course, Pennington started to put her combinations together more. In round 4, was looking cleaner. Was actually using her pressure game pretty well and mostly dodging the strikes of Pena. Then she hit that big overhand right, boom, right on the button, and sat her down. And instead of going for more strikes while she's getting up and maybe like closing out the show, instead she tries to pull a fucking Kelvin Gastelum. I got to get into top position. And now I got to know that I won this round because I must have won a round before. So now I just have to lay on her. It was so stupid. That's what lost her the whole fight. If she'd have kept trying to throw punches at her when she was down, she could have knocked her out. Like, I'm being serious. She could have gotten a TKO. Instead, she just decided to lay on top of her. And she won round 4, but unfortunately, she'd lost the last 3 rounds before that. She won the 5th round, in my opinion, pretty decisively. Just had better combinations. Pena was gassing out. Was on the back foot way more. I honestly think Pena was looking better on the front foot for most of the fight. And then, like, towards the end, oh, God, I'm dizzy. I'm tired. I have ring rust. I have to back up. And that's what won Pennington the last 2. But it was too late. Pena had already won 3 rounds. So it made sense that she won. And I wasn't that mad about it. Even though I hate Pena, she was able to do it. She earned it. So, and it's going to be a more hyped up fight between her and Harrison.
Yeah, I think that like my final thoughts on the fight is like Pennington appears in the last few fights that she's had to just not be in shape. Yeah. She has like a muffin top in there. Super strange that she's not
including her haircut.
Training super hard. Ganskow says Pena won. What is up, Ganskow? Good to see you, my friend. Well, yeah, I don't think there's. We spent too much time talking about that fight already.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Alex Pereira knocks out Khalil Roundtree in the 4th round. Another fight where everybody told me, "Oh, dude, Alex Pereira is going to knock him out quickly." I did have him by 3rd round knockout, but I did give Khalil his flowers. I said that, dude, this guy, if anybody can do it, as far as who's left, Khalil has a chance. Didn't think he would win, but I thought it would be an exciting match, and it was. I thought that he clearly won the first 2 rounds, dropping Alex Pereira at one point. Alex Pereira came out and just like threw a flying kick at him. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was
and
wild.
Then
I think he did it against Adesanya once. I've seen that kick come out before.
It was strange.
I remember that.
It was strange to see Alex like look so vulnerable and get hit so much in this fight. I don't think that Khalil like had the power to really do much to Alex. Also, yeah. Alex is such a huge guy that a lot of Khalil's finishing moves aren't really like there. And he's technical enough. It was the pressure that was really getting to Alex. Like, just Khalil was fighting beautifully. He stayed just inside of the range of his power with the boxing, and just outside of Alex Pereira, or he was staying inside of Alex Pereira's game, so like range. So like when Alex threw punches, he wasn't at the end of his power. He was right on the inside of the boxing range. Good range for Khalil. Bad range for Alex. And I also think that the pressure game from Khalil is what wore him out into the 3rd round, and that's when it started to turn. And that's when you saw Khalil get all bloody. And 4th round, fuck, that was a crazy round. And yeah, you could see that he was totally done. What I liked most about Alex Pereira's finish and performance in the 4th round was that he was very patient. I feel like he could have probably ended Khalil faster. But he just chose not to. He chose to stay patient, pressure him, wanted to finish him up against the cage with punches, and that's exactly what he did. I also thought that Khalil Roundtree fought kind of dumb. He should have at least attempted to take him down. He never did.
No.
And Alex Pereira gets another one done. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I heard people who were reacting to this fight live in that 4th round, and some of them were like reading Alex's movements and were being like, Alex just wants to he doesn't want to viciously destroy Roundtree and hit him over and over and over again. He wants to wait and then hit a big shot that can put him out because he sees that this guy's bloody all over his face and he's having a horrible time. Maybe Alex wanted to sort of mercifully put him out with one shot. It's oh, there you go, down he goes. But instead he was picking at him a little bit and trying to maybe get a TKO instead of complete knockout, take his head off his shoulders, destroy him. And that could have been the case, but God, honestly, it might have been a worse punishment for him to just hurt him to the. Actually, that makes sense. He hurt him to the body, hit him with that body shot twice. He's like, "Oh, this will just crumple him."
He's masterful and patient in that 4th round.
Yeah, he was awesome. Fantastic. But in the 1st round, I gotta say, Khalil was faster than Alex Pereira in this fight, and when he pressured forward, with the combinations, he's like, "Woof, woof, 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 woof." And he was hitting him. He was hitting him flush. It reminded me of when Yuri would come forward with combinations. Oh, he hit him with a 1, 2, 3 piece from Pereira's backing up. Alex Pereira's, solid stance allows him to really throw out that leg kick randomly, and that's adds more power and surprise to it, and allows that left hook when he comes in. Oh, it's shocking. Because he still is a statue sometimes, but unfortunately that makes it really hard. Yeah, Shama. Here's my son, Moy Jr. But whenever he gets and hey, look who I found at the park, Volkanovski. Here's Volkanovski. But anyway, Alex Pereira, when he's on the back foot, he has a really tough time moving back, so he's stuck, and it's now and he's eating punches on his way out.
He has no head movement.
Exactly, no head movement, Ronda. But then when Alex Pereira, and honestly, I didn't like that he wasn't throwing a lot of leg kicks. In the rounds 1 and 2, he threw 3 or 4 leg kicks. He could have thrown them in the double digits in those first couple of rounds. I think he would have crumpled Khalil even sooner if he was able to.
But I'll just push back and say that it was because of the pressure that Khalil was implementing.
That is true. But I didn't see too many moments where it was it was a leg kick that got him caught. Alex was throwing fucking head kicks, trying to throw fucking big left hands, and that's what was getting him caught, was the big striking exchanges where he was throwing high. If he'd have thrown low, I think he would have had the same success that he has had with everybody else with his leg kicks. And especially in the 3rd and 4th rounds, he was really starting to find the leg kick or throw it out more. And that really started to gas out Khalil's movement and put him on the back foot. But instead, he sort of tried to pull an Izzy with I got to get him out of there quick. Round 1, round 2, hit him with something big. Oh yeah, this guy isn't on my level. And it cost him those first 2 rounds. I think Khalil Roundtree won rounds 1 and 2. And hit him with big shots out of nowhere that was just timing him. Dude, that head kick into the overhand right was a thing of beauty. And Alex Pereira is very lucky that he turned in time enough so that it didn't fully put him out, but he was rocked. And that counts as almost a knockdown in that fight. So Roundtree was having the performance of his life in those first 2 rounds, but unfortunately it was Salt Lake City. And after the first round, he was already up against the fence. Oh God, I'm running out of juice. And unfortunately, those bursts of energy he had at the start of the fight completely wore him out by the end of it. Combined with the leg kicks, he was done. And also, I got to give credit to Alex for, instead of throwing left hooks, he started throwing leg kicks and then a right hand through the guard. And now he's grabbing the guard and he's pushing it back to hit his punches. And he started to figure out Khalil Rountree's game and how he responds when he's on the back foot. And then after that, it was pretty much over. Alex was hitting him with basically anything that he wanted. Those body shots to buckle him were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great finish. This was a great fight overall, and totally upped Khalil Rountree's stock. Now I actually have a great respect for Roundtree after this performance. He's a fucking warrior. And some people were saying, dude, give him the loser of Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Have him fight out for a number 1 contenders fight next.
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, and I think Magomed Ankalaev
maybe not number 1 contenders, but definitely contenders fight.
Yeah, I think Magomed Ankalaev is the only guy you can make a fight with coming up.
I'm saying after that, after the Magomed and Pereira.
Yeah, I know. But it's I don't know, dude. Like, I want to see that fight. I don't know if Magomed Ankalaev like necessarily beats him.
I don't think so.
I think he's got the best chance. He got the best chance, style wise. But I truly think that if Artem Vahitov wins tomorrow, the last guy to beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing, you just do the fight with him. Like,
yeah, why not?
Who cares about giving him a fight in the UFC proper? Just throw him right in there. I don't care anymore.
He's already spectacle circus fight. He beats everybody at light.
He's already taken out most of the middleweight division. Yeah. Just make the fight. Who cares?
Yeah, give him middleweight. Give him heavyweight. Shama. Just do it.
I want him to fight Artem Vahitov next.
All right, well, I'll do that.
Let's see. Khalil did very good. He deserves a top opponent next. Yes. If Magomed was there instead of Khalil, oh man.
Well, especially in Salt Lake City, that would have been bad.
Paul says Ankalaev will beat him. These are daggies. These daggies are for real.
Yeah, one of them's going to get put out, and you're going to cry about it.
After Alex looked, Magomed will win. Alex is king of the ring, wrestling, striking. He's got it all. Yeah, I honestly don't.
Striking. He doesn't.
He has decent striking. I just don't think that he.
He put out Johnny Walker. Oh my God, he knocked out.
I just question if his IQ is high enough to really beat Alex. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Alex has like incredible fight IQ. I just think that I just question. I give him a good chance to win.
Yeah,
but I want to see him versus Artem Vahitov. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
And again, people forget, man. People forget that Jan Blachowicz was hitting Magomed Ankalaev with leg kick after leg kick and slowly gassing him out on the feet and beating him up. People forget, man. And with Alex's leg kicks, that's a different beast entirely. So I feel like he's got a pretty good chance if he throws leg kicks at Magomed Ankalaev down the wrestling.
I got to get rolling. This was a pretty bad card. I give it like a 6.5. Oh, every ranking I've had for every show of the UFC of late has been that. So I don't know. Maybe I just have a bad ranking system. He says, whatever happened to Blachowicz?
I've rated him even lower.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Blachowicz? Yanni Blacko, I think he had a kid and he's just been kicking it.
He's been gone.
But yeah, like I said, I got to get rolling, man. You have any final thoughts?
Thank God for the main event, because otherwise this could have honestly been worse than UFC 306. Like, just with all the bullshit with the officiating and the judges and the refs. And
Andrew gives it a 5.5.
Yeah, a good ranking from Andrew.
That's why he's the chattest man on the planet.
Yeah. This was shit. So I'm hoping that the fight night of Royval versus Taira is better than this. It probably will be.
Yeah. Jan hasn't been back in a while. We need him back. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, City. It sucks.
All I'll say is, if you like that main event, you didn't like the rest of the card. Kickboxing. Kickboxing's a thing. I like kickboxing, but whatever. People will never come over to the dark side of kickboxing. But anyway, that's the show, man. Hank, let him know what you're up to the rest of the week.
Well, I'm going to be doing my Contender Series fight companion. That should be a fun one because we got the man, the myth, the legend, Artem Vahitov in the main event. And he's going to take on Pereira next after that. Fuck everybody else in the ranking. Give him the Poatan Shama. I've got him by first round KO, by the way. And then Cody Steele against Jason Blair. I got him by round 2 KO. Mario Pinto against Lucas Camacho. I got him by decision. Dulatov versus Antunes, round 2 KO, and then Gauchi versus Drillich, round 1 KO. So those are Hank's picks for Contender Series. I will show them on the screen during my fight companion, and we'll see what wins out. But that's going to be a fun. Might be one of the best weeks of Contender Series, especially just based on hype alone. And then going to do Hank's Think Tank for Wednesday. Lots of productive stuff happening already that I need to cover in the news, including Marab wrestling with the Rat, Ali Abdelaziz, backstage in a huge fucking confrontation with that fucking 2 psychopaths going at it. So that'll be fun to cover. And then we're going to have Hank the Tank and Idaho Skatesman's picks for Royval versus Taira. And then what else is on the weekend? I think we're going to have a pretty big weekend for the next this weekend.
Really quick.
Better BF versus Bivol.
Oh my gosh, that is a fight I've been waiting for a long time.
Did you watch the promo for that? There was like a trailer.
No, I don't care about blood money promos.
That's true.
But yes, that'll be happening. There's going to be Octagon. Nobody cares. Contender Series. Besides Isha, there is going to be, I think, a Rise card. I may try to do. There might be Fairtex Fight RWS. If there is, I'll try to cover it. I'll try to cover Thai Fight League on a Sunday. There is going to be this shit called Dynamite Fight Show, a kickboxing organization. I'm going to try to cover that. It is like $4, $5 pay-per-view. I'm going to try to cover that.
All right, thanks.
There's also going to be Pro Box. So lots of good shit happening this week. But nonetheless, I got to get out of here. Hank, lead us out.
You have escaped the war zone for now. Well, yeah, I know me and Harrison is a possibility, but I want the Bunda. Norma Dumont. Give me Norma. Come on, let's have a butt show off, baby. I'll show you I got a better butt than you. After the pregnancy, it went big. It went big as a balloon, bitch. I'll take